In our presentation called Price the American Dream, how to set a price for a condominium, for a farm, for resort property, just residential resale, we run into sellers that have needs and objections that have nothing to do with the marketplace. I'm going to walk you through a few of those and let you know that the design of Price the American Dream pricing presentation was specifically to address the following objections. Again, some of the courses that I've taken on counseling of families, marriage counseling, relationship counseling, as well as having been through it myself. Motivational interviewing, which is an exceptional course for social workers, working with people that have habits and addictions that they don't want to let go, opinions they don't want to let go of. And we really applied those into this Price the American Dream presentation. It's done in a specific order to address just about every objection somebody can come up with, especially those that are really unrealistic or unreasonable. So here we go. We're going to capture a few of these, talk about a few of them. So the first one is somebody says, I bought the house 2 years ago and it prays for this. And I won't take any less. I bought it for $300, but it prays for $310, so it must have been worth $310. I must have stole the property. We're going to address that and helping the clients get the right perspective. I need the money because this next house we're buying, we're moving to Rhode Island, whatever the case, it's more expensive than here in Wisconsin. We need the money. We can't buy a home there. I had a neighbor who sold the property, and the agent was her first listing. It was wonderful. I went in there and I said, how's it going? She had an open house. I popped in. She said, I hate real estate. This is my day 40. I've had no showings in the property. Well, I had done an analysis on the property because it was down the street from me, and I confirmed she was about $70,000 too high, and no foot traffic would kind of confirm that. But her sellers moved to Texas, and those people needed the money to buy another property. And I believe that the story was that one of the spouses wouldn't move to this Texas unless they had the assurance they were going to be able to buy a property. Well, they made an assumption about the marketplace because of what they needed. Next, I have this feature that nobody else has. I'm sure everybody's going to want it. And the seller's in love with it. I had a seller one time, he had a $5,000 chandelier he had just put into his property, had a hidden camera in it. He had cameras hidden all around the house. He had a red room which had all these video surveillance equipment, and he wanted to get his money back out of these strategical places he put cameras. Now that's kind of a wild example, but a seller could say that I did this upgrade and that upgrade, and I had a listing one time where they had about a $40,000 remake of a master bathroom. It's quite a house, but it went in black marble. The tub was black marble. The floor was black marble. The walls halfway up were black. And I said to him, how many people out of 100 do you think will come in here and hope they say, I hope it's black, everything. And so I always help them get perspective that not only will they get zero back, but it's going to cost them. Otherwise, they thought they had the best bathroom around. The tax assessor says, Brian, the house is worth $440,000. So the tax assessor must be right. Or Zillow says, because sometimes Zillow is right on, but other times Zillow is way off, way too low, way too high. Of course, if the seller sees it, they're in agreement. Zillow says my house is $490,000, and the seller then believes it. But if Zillow comes through and says 380, and the seller goes, well, that place is, they don't know anything. But of course, it's a resource that they look at, which is incumbent upon us as listing agents. We have to see what Zillow says, because the seller's already been there. And we have to see what the tax assessor says. And you're going to see in the Price the American Dream presentation on pricing, we're actually going to ask the seller, what did you think of what the tax assessor says? Put it in front of them, circle the number, and watch them say, well, that's way too low. Now you know their number. You know they're thinking north of that. Or we know we can't get that number. That's too high. And get the seller to volunteer that price. Same thing with Zillow. Print out the Zillow page where it says their house is worth blank, and simply ask them the question. And that is sitting right there. Do you think Zillow is a little bit high, or right in the mark, or too low? What are your thoughts on that? These sellers can't really hold back their opinion. These are great ways to get them to elicit what they're thinking about their price And after all, this is a pricing therapy presentation. A few other things. The seller says, I put $60,000 in my property in the last 2 years and I want my money back. And we know that if you put $60,000 into a property, you normally don't even get anywhere near $60,000 back. But homeowners believe if you put in all new windows in your property and the guy who sold the windows to them says it's going to increase your value, there's nowhere near that type of return on most anything, other than if you're really doing some significant work, generally in a kitchen or a master bathroom. Even there, a lot of profit, seller, in there for the contractor. And what you don't get back is the profit too. So if they did work here for $20,000 and their profit was $5,000, it really only is a $15,000 improvement, and they did it 2 years ago, which means it depreciated from that. Because we have to give sellers perspective whenever they make a declarative statement. Everything I'm covering right here in this video is listening to people's declarative statement. And we have to come back with a question when they make it. I'll give you another example here about somebody putting in carpet. And I had a seller one time who put in brand new white carpet. They had green, teal. We decided to change it. It was in perfect condition, the teal, because they didn't wear shoes when they walked in the house. And they were going to put in relocation beige. And the seller decided to pick her second favorite color, which was pure white. Well, I think we got worse. And they thought they got all their money back from that. And in truth, they didn't, because the next people moved in changed the carpet out. So if they have they're on a corner lot, and they think that, I've had a lot of sellers think I'm on a corner lot, that's a good thing. Well, generally that means you have traffic, maybe even a stop sign out in front. We've got to give people's perspective that the feature they think is so important to everybody may not be the case. So what do you say to a seller whose backyard does this, goes straight downhill? Got quite a view of the high tension pole behind you, or trees back there, but the backyard is completely unusable. And so the positive thing we can know for a seller is that you got potentially a good view, but how does that backyard as a feature compared to other properties on the market right now hoping to sell? Again, these are all objections sellers have. What do I do? I want my money back out of it. It appraised for X amount. I need the money where I'm moving to. The tax assessor says this. I'm not going to give it away, We don't have to move. All these things are addressed in the Price the American Dream presentation. Again, you got an objection? We're pretty confident we handle it. Alrighty, thanks for watching.